Greetings, everyone, and welcome to Anime Night in the Dojo. Today's featured show, Shield Hero, Season 4.
Yep, Shield Hero, Season 4, Episode 4. Welcome back to the dojo. I'm Ryu. It's Age. We're back for more Anime Night in the Dojo, and, well, we're still in Silfeld. I hate everything. All of it. I want to go home. But, you know, we got Atla's major rant last week, and a challenge that had an altered deal, and now, now Fumi's even more invested in winning this, because then he would have to marry the Minotaur's daughter on top of having the harem, so,
Yeah, also, you're upset that we're still in Silfeld. You're not going to like the title of the next episode.
No, I saw what the next episode was titled. We're not going home. Well, not that they're going home. They're trying to get to the other place. Yeah.
Or whatever.
Yeah. So, either way.
I don't remember what the freaking name was. It was a different series, I believe.
Yeah, but well, it's super out of it at this point. It's just, yeah. I'm over this place. Can we just one-shot the Minotaur guy and go home? That's not what's going to happen. Full is probably going to be fighting the lion guy for a while. But, we pretty much talked out the situation at this point. Oh yeah, and again, if you guys are looking for the reaction section, it's down there in the description, the link to the Patreon post, and should be in the first pinned comment, assuming the post actually goes up whenever I post that. But, yeah, just making sure that people know where to find that if they're looking for the reaction part. But anyway, yeah, I don't know. I want this arc to be over. But again, Age did mention it last week too, it's kind of weird that the strongest part of the show was season 1, and that's usually not the case. You know what I mean? So,
yeah, generally speaking, the first season is either the strongest or the weakest season, usually. And then, based on if it was a strong or a weak season, season 2 is usually the stronger weak season. The opposite being the opposite of the first season. In the most case, it being the weak season, and that's usually like season 3 or 4 that picks up.
Yep.
But in this one, now it's just every season so far has progressively just been going further and further downhill.
Right. So, I don't know. Like I said, the most interesting part of the Shield Hero dynamic comes from Isekai Quartet and the movie, with everything that's insinuated and implied there. So, you know what I mean?
Season one was the best. Season 2 was still quite good, but not quite as good as season 1. Then season 3 was really started to pivot, and now season 4 so far seems to be basically right where we left off with season 3 in quality.
Right. So, that is what it is. I'm going to be over here. The Crunchyroll players already had it with me. I know you guys can't see it at the moment because we have the shield up, but it's already had it with me. It's on the first frame of the episode, just waiting, and it's already just like, nah, here's a picture of Naofumi's face. At some frame of the episode.
I commented about how, now that you're tightening it, the 12 minutes seems to be the most common, but there have definitely been times where it has just gone immediately, or we've gone for 40-minute discussions without it dying once.
Yeah, and just so you guys know what we're talking about, we have the timer for the reaction part right there, but I kind of also use it during the discussion part, just from a personal side. Like, it's not up on the overlay for the discussion and review section, but I just kind of look at it just to kind of rein in the length of some of the things, like if there's not a huge amount to talk about, and just kind of to pace it a little bit. Like, if we still have more to talk about, I just kind of ignore it. But I kind of use it as an anti-rant feature now for myself. But yeah, right here, it was just, it's been 2 minutes. I brought up the episode, I hit play, let it load a little bit in the first literal half a second of the episode, and then we started, and it's been 2 minutes. So I don't freaking know. Oh, and contrary to a lot of random nonsense that's going on right now, Netflix is not the only place that has anime to watch. In case anybody's seen those posts online about how Naruto is the most watched anime, Netflix is not the only place you watch anime. They have a very limited selection compared to places like Crunchyroll and High Dive. So I don't know what these arguments that just keep popping up all over my feed are, that, you know, people arguing about watch time and stuff like that. It's like, that'd be like saying like ESPN is the only place you can watch sports, so that's the only stat line that matters. It's like, no. You have to take into account literally everything. You know, it's kind of like taking a poll. It's like, if you didn't get a response from everyone that's going to be voting or whatever, then the poll doesn't matter. You know? So
Yeah, friggin' once again, Sony has a pseudo monopoly over over anime licensing. They own like 85% of anime licenses right now.
Yep.
So things like Crunchyroll and stuff like that have way bigger viewer bases.
And again, Disney randomly controls Naruto, I believe, still. So that's why you don't see it in a lot of other places, is because they can only get certain other places like Crunchyroll, High Dive, wherever. Some of the other places can only get certain rights to certain seasons and stuff like that, because, you know, Naruto was a mega series. It has, you know, freaking like 800 episodes or whatever the heck it is by the end of the second series. So it's just one of those things that's like, I look at some of these like random things that pop up in my feed of people like arguing about this. It's like, oh, Naruto's still the GOAT because people are watching it. It's like, well, Netflix is the lowest common denominator for people that have a streaming service. You know what I mean? So if that's like the only thing they have, and a lot of people don't like the multiple accounts thing, you know what I mean? It's no different than like people only watching stuff on YouTube, or only watching stuff on Twitch, or only watching stuff on Kick, or wherever. You know what I mean? So it's just one of those things where it just, okay, a lot of people might not be aware of Crunchyroll's existence. As ridiculous as that sounds for people in the know of anime, there are people that might just casually watch and they don't know about that kind of thing. You see it all the time. It doesn't matter what the, you know, hobby or pastime or thing is. If there's a lot of people that don't know the subtle nuances of things, or people that'll play like, say, World of Warcraft and not know that Wowhead exists, or MMO Champion, or any of the forums that talk about these things. You know what I mean? They just play the game. That's it. I've known plenty of people that, you know, don't look at the launcher. You know what I mean? It's like, I didn't know this was happening. It's like, dude, the news is in the launcher. You know what I mean? Like, oh, I don't look at that. It's like, then I got nothing for you. You know what I mean? So either way, it's just one of those random curiosities that I saw recently that I thought I would just. It's like, let people know on Netflix that that's not the only place that you watch anime, and they don't know how to math either, because Sakamoto Days is the most watched thing on Netflix right now. So yeah, either way, just a random aside there at the beginning of this, but I just wanted to delay the inevitable of having to watch this, honestly. You guys want to talk about something else? Can we just get like a highlight of Atla one-shotting the Minotaur guy, and then that's it, and then we can move on? Because if that doesn't happen, I'll be surprised, based on everything that we got from last season with her and how ridiculous she is, but and everything we talked about last week. But it's one of those things. It's kind of like where ZZZ's at right now, where they put so much exposition into things that just are so minor that have nothing to do with the main story. And like, I got to the point, and sorry for this little extra aside, I apologize, but I get like 3 paragraphs into a freaking discussion between 2 characters on like this little side event thing, and I'm like, okay, I don't care about this. This doesn't matter. This obviously has no relevance to the main story, any kind of reasonable lore stuff. And I start spamming, you know, the next like button, you know, in this case X, to move the conversation forward. And like 30 seconds later, I'm still hitting X, and I've seen like 18 more paragraphs. It's like, why are you guys writing all this, man? This is insane. It has like no in-universe relevance because it's like a one-off event that's not tied to like anything. Why are you putting so much exposition into this? This is insane. You know what I mean? Most of the times in those kind of situations, less is more. Honestly, like I went back recently and I looked at like this Mass Effect video came across my feed, and I was just like, I think Mass Effect is the perfect example of a very good example. Like Persona is also a good one. While Persona does have a lot of exposition, it doesn't like overwhelm you. It gets the point across and stuff like that. And Mass Effect did that same exact thing where it got everything it needed to get in, but characters weren't sitting there talking for 800 years. You know what I mean? They didn't have 18 paragraphs of dialogue. It was, you know...
Well, Mass Effect did also have the advent of, like, the Codex, where it was, like, the characters would give you the general discussion of, like, assuming you knew what they were talking about to begin with. And then you'd have, like, the extra dialogue option of, like, well, I don't know what that is, basically, and asking them about it.
Right.
Where they would give you a short synopsis of what it is. And then if you wanted a full, detailed explanation, you would go read it in the Codex.
Right. So, either way, sorry for the aside, but it's just irking me. So, we're gonna set up the timer here. Get ready for that for over on Patreon, and people on YouTube. We'll see you on the side of the edit for the review and discussion. So, here goes something. Well, alrighty then. You guys, there's really not a huge amount to say about this one because this was just pretty much Jarlath's exposition and mediocre fight sequence. That was it. I'm not kidding. I mean, we got a little bit more backstory on Jarlath, whatever. We got what happened with Tyrion and, you know, the fallout with his father, that kind of thing. What happened with their family. Jarlath's betrayal, trying to restore his honor from however he lost it, which, again, we don't know what happened to his honor, which should be a key point to this.
Yeah, I mean, based on the fact that he is a very shady individual to begin with, who knows what the hell it could have been. But yeah, from this backstory, something cost him his honor, so he got deployed on the front lines. He came up with some scheme to restore his honor and told Tyrion to stand back. Tyrion did not go along with this plan, showed up as reinforcements to save his forces anyway, and so not only did his plan get ruined, but Tyrion came off as the hero.
Yep.
And so he, out of spite, betrayed the fuck out of Tyrion.
Yep. So, again, mentioned at the end of the reaction there is like, this is a military thing. This wasn't like a military exercise for practice. This was an actual war. You know what I mean? So, do you really expect, you know, from a military standpoint that one of the other divisions is just going to let another one get wiped out or do something shady or whatever when the plan might not work out, and then the entire, like, war could be lost trying to recover some nerd's honor? Yeah, I don't think so. There's got to be a better way to do it. So, we obviously don't have the full story on Jarlath. Somebody's going to have it, because if we don't get what his problem is, then that's a massive failure from just, like, a character standpoint at this point. You can't just have him say, oh man, I lost my honor. It's like, well, what happened? I don't know. I just lost it. What? No, you have to know. You got the bruise on your face somehow, right? Oh, your dad did it to you. Got it. And you stood up to him in the war room. Got it. Yeah, okay. There has to be a reason. But, so, at some point, we'll have to get that. But, this... I mean, again, yes, he fought bravely. No, he swung his axe around wildly and accomplished nothing. That's not fighting. You know what I mean? Like, if you get into the ring...
The most significant thing he achieved was not getting one shot by Atma.
Yeah. Which, let's be real,
But
she was just kind of messing around with him. Those were
she
absolutely
wasn't.
probing attacks. And then when he got serious, she got reasonably serious and one-shotted him. Yes, you could argue that it was a culmination of the 3 blows that finally took him down. Whatever. She was just kind of poking him. You know what I mean? That wasn't like the full-on Emperor Dragon, punch that she pulled off. That was just her going like boop and boop. You know what I mean? Those were like, we can make another Avatar reference. That was like full Ty Lee. You know what I mean? She was hitting pressure points. That was it. She wasn't trying to one-shot him until she did. So it was just, that wasn't a fight. That was just, I don't even know what to compare that to.
Yeah, as it stands right now, Atla is the strongest character who isn't like a vassal weapon wielder.
Yeah.
Like, she freaking breaks a lot of the current rules when it comes to fighting things, and just her stats are absurd. Because once again, white tigers are absurd.
She's slowly turning into Shion. She's gonna get the Master Chef ability and just break the waves, right? Certain outcome, right?
Yeah, like Crunchyroll really doesn't like you today.
4 minutes. 4 minutes.
But yeah, freaking. I'm still pretty thoroughly convinced that she's only going to get even more absurd as the series goes on, especially because it's still leaning towards she's going to be the one to get the staff. Especially since now Full has his own gimmick with the transformation shenanigans.
Right. So one would assume that he wouldn't really. Not that Outlaw needs it, until
Yeah,
we get,
Atla's already pretty stupid strong, but friggin', yeah, she doesn't really have a gimmick yet, whereas Full now has an established gimmick.
Right. So we'll just have to see what comes of that, because there have been a bunch of things set up, but again, from the source material that we looked at, we're not halfway to where the source material is at, and the source material isn't over. It's just been on hiatus for like 3.5 years.
Yeah, it's still ongoing, but it's on a random weird hiatus. That like the author has said that no, he's still going to continue the series. He just hasn't given a win.
Yep. So they give the anime a chance to catch up and whatnot, but still, again, this dude came up to bat 4 times in a game and struck out on 12 pitches. That's a little bit better than, well, assuming a pitcher's dominating a batter in a sense, would get probably 3 at bats in a game. So yeah, that the metaphor and the thing still applies. He didn't do anything. He didn't foul off any pitches. He didn't put a ball in play. He whiffed over and over and over again. That's not a fight. You know what I mean? If you don't even force your opponent to block, you know what I mean? It's not really a fight. You just kind of showed up and lost. It's kind of like the Glass Joe thing, where you just get knocked out on the first punch and you're done. You took a couple swings and then that was it. A fight implies a fight.
Yeah, a fight implies a back and forth.
Yeah, like if you like come across like the schoolyard bully and he takes a couple swings at you and you uppercut him and knock him out in one punch, that wasn't a fight. You just knocked out a guy who, attempted assault at you.
Yeah, what happened here was the equivalent of going up to fight Sans and then only barely surviving his initial attack.
Right. So
technically could be considered slightly impressive that you managed to survive his initial attack, but you still never hit him and then he died.
Yeah. So, just saying, this, he did not fight bravely. This was a waste of everybody's time. This was a vehicle to get full to transform. That's all this was.
I called that out immediately. The whole thing here is just that this was just a plot device to show more of Jarlis's underhandedness, that he would try to basically get the big legendary hero from the war, who's one of the strongest in the nation, on his side underhandedly, and then with the whole I'll totally get the shield hero to marry your wife if you side with me. I'm
right.
not wife, daughter, if you side with me.
Yep.
Just so that way they have a excuse to not have Atla just one-shot Jarlis.
Yeah, pretty much. So that was what it was. I'll say this just really quick before we get to the family stuff is the fact that what Atla and the Minotaur guy did was technically a duel. Technically. What Jarlis was doing over here, the rules for their duel, their sacred cultural duel, is not a duel. It's a street fight. Let's get that perfectly clear. It's a duel with no rules, so it's a no-holds-barred match, basically, which isn't a duel by definition.
Yeah, no, a duel by definition is a ruled competition to determine an outcome. This is literally just the only rule here is just that you have to abide by the results.
Yeah.
But the fight itself has 0 rules.
Right. So again, it's not a duel because there are no rules. In a duel, there are established rules. He would if Jarlis was able to transform naturally, that would be allowed. If they agreed on, just use whatever weapons you want, fine, pick a weapon, but poison certainly isn't on the table. A poison bomb to the face certainly wouldn't be on the table. And using a potion to force transform yourself also would not be on the table.
Yeah, generally speaking, the rules of the duel is they have to be established ahead of time, what you're bringing into the duel, and it has to be entirely through your own merit. So your own skill with a sword, your own natural strength and abilities. No performance enhancing drugs or poison, hidden weapons, anything like that.
Yep. So that's what I'm going to gripe with mostly of this episode, outside of the fact that we're still fighting outside. There's a bunch of, or inside, there's a bunch of collateral damage, and it's stupid.
Yeah, I was willing to give the fighting in the palace a pass if this was an actual duel and there was structure to it and so on and so forth. But no, they went into this fully knowing that there's no rules to these duels and that they can fight however the hell they feel like. And no, we're still going to do it in the palace.
Yeah. So what's to stop somebody just from pulling a Megamine and blowing it up with explosion magic to win the no holds barred duel? You know what I mean? What are you doing? You're not even reinforcing the room. I don't understand what's happening here. This seems really dumb in every sense of the thing. You know what I mean? I could respect it if they said, hey, it's you versus him. Whoever wins, that's it. Don't call it a duel, because that's not a duel. It's just not. So
the only way that this could qualify as a duel is if it was stated at the beginning of the duel is that this is a no rules duel, because then that's the rule that everyone has agreed on. It's not a duel unless everyone has agreed on the terms and rules of the duel from the beginning. You can't just pull underhanded tactics midway through and then have the ref go, no, that's allowed.
Yeah, pretty much. So either way, just again, not really well executed as far as I'm concerned. And again, the action sequences they existed, but they weren't fantastic. But the major intrigue of this was the fact that we knew Full and Atla's mom was human, but
yeah, we
Tyrion,
knew that they were.
or Tyron himself, looks far more human than his dad, the OG king. So
Yeah, we knew Full and Atla's mother was a human because we got that big flashback to her when we were first being introduced to them, but we didn't really get to see Tyrion. We just knew that their mother was a human and their father was a white tiger. But this backstory pretty heavily implies that their father was also a half-breed, so therefore they're only like 1/4 white tiger and predominantly human. Because, once again, he looks like a half-blood, whereas the father looks like a full-blooded white tiger, similar to like their father's friend who's helping them now.
Yep.
So this pretty heavily implies that they're only 1/4 white tiger and predominantly human, though they obviously still have racial traits of white tiger. And this also reveals the thing that we didn't know about them, being that they're royalty, or exiled royalty, because the whole thing of why Silfdale's been in these like constant civil wars is because their grandfather was the White Tiger King guy who got disgraced by Melromark's king.
Yep. So, yeah, that was the biggest intrigue for this. Whether or not we get like an explanation on that, have to see. Maybe as white tigers get older, they take on more of like the beast appearance or something, because they did refer to them as demi-humans. So
it's possible. We have to see exactly. From everything we've heard, the white tigers are beast folk, not demi-humans. But they did bring up the whole thing of like demi-humans being able to do their like animal transformation, and that apparently beast folk could as well, but that it's like basically like a lost ability.
Right. So yeah, not really a huge amount to say about this one at the end of the day.
I'm gonna actually just try to look it up and see if it actually is like confirmed whether beast folk are, whether white tigers are like canonically confirmed beast folk or demi-humans. It seems like they are technically demi-humans, but from what I'm reading here, there doesn't actually seem to be any real actual difference in the terminology they're using on the wiki.
Well,
so I don't know. Yeah, it's just I can't tell. Like, the wiki refers to them as demi-humans, but the wiki also doesn't seem to refer to anything as beast folk either.
Well then, sounds like somebody
So
needs to get their shit together.
So either that's a like anime/translation thing differentiating the two, or the wiki's not entirely accurate about that.
It has to be a thing because we have the two sides of the table. You know what I mean?
Well, on both sides of the table, there were most of the people at the table were beast folk. Like, they're even on the side of like the three main races, Zaku, Genbu, and whatever the other one was, like Saikin or whatever. There was like the giraffe guy and stuff like that were clearly beast folk.
So yeah, I don't know. Yeah, at some point we'll hopefully get some of this cleared up. But yeah, I mean, the Allah side of stuff went as we expected, and but again, it was just going to end up being a vehicle for the beast transformation for Full here. So he needed a gimmick of some kind. We thought it might be the staff, but now this is probably going to be it. Him awakening to his like true nature or whatever.
We'll have to see. It could still be. He could still get the staff. Because we'll have to see if this is basically just a like temporary power boost form, similar to like Jarless's beast form, or if like it is accurate that they are demi-humans and not beast folk, this could be his finally hitting that break point of he just matured.
Right. Because you do accumulate experience as you're fighting. So
Yeah.
just have to see. But we're still here. We're still in Siltfelt. So you guys know what that means. Until next week, then, ladies and gentlemen, people of YouTube, beyond ever watching, we always appreciate you stopping by and hanging out with us here in the dojo from our anime night in the dojo. And this was Shield Hero, Season 4, Episode 4. So have a good morning, evening, afternoon, whatever it is for you. Have a good one. See you next time.
Hey everyone, Victoria here. If you enjoyed the video, please consider pushing those like and subscribe buttons. Your support is greatly appreciated. Thanks again for your time, and we hope to see you again in the future.